Okay, what's up, everybody? It just says stream. Starting soon, stream. Nice. That's a pretty good countdown. All right. So, decided to do this as a live stream tonight. Because it's just a little easier. And I wanted to combine the two things that that I'm doing on these streams. Or on my YouTube channel, I guess. I wanted to combine the chart review and the daily bias. We did the weekly bias last night, and it was pretty good. Overnight, we had pretty spot on. I think our weekly bias came out to be bullish. We'll see how that plays out, obviously. We had a bit of a, actually, it was a bullish day. Let me expand one of these so we can see. And let's just get right into the daily, I guess. Now remember, this is the ESH 2023 contract, so you're not gonna see all of the history. Let's start with the chart review because let me turn this music up a little bit. We got to see what we did today. I don't want to clear all this stuff out because it was relevant. I will, yeah, I'll keep that sell side up. I deleted a lot of the sell side and buy side targets from the day, but yeah, so today, man, the music seems to be going in and out here. Loud track and not loud track. Let me switch to a different playlist real quick. Okay, so what happened today? Well, overnight, it did as predicted. So during the stream last night, I think we were around here, right? 10 o'clock to 11-ish. We are up on this little 4-hour gap. And sorry, I got some sniffles, so you might hear me sneezing and stuff. So I apologize for that. But the bias was that we would go down into this gap, the new week opening gap here, and then head up to 39.98. And it actually hit that at 8:15 a.m. So that was actually a target for the upcoming day. I didn't think it was gonna do that overnight, but oops, London can move. So yeah, it did. All right, got a pretty good jump at London. Pre-London hit that low, right? London didn't even mess around, right? Just went straight up. And then consolidation a little bit, and then popped that 39.98. Now that 39.98, I think, is going to be a significant target throughout the week. We're on the 15-minute chart here, by the way. As it has been for a while, 39.98 is the CE of a daily gap from all the way back in January 23rd, over a month ago, when we were having that great run up, and then we actually had some dealing with it during that, and then we came back down and we've been dealing with it again, as well as some other daily gaps, right? But this is our first daily gap from the real explosion up, right? That happened at the end of January, beginning of February. Excuse me. We have another gap that we're also working in. It went into that last Friday. Actually went all the way through it and gave us a nice sell side target down there. Yo, what up, Nate? Came back out, end of this gap, and we're gonna be seeing that CE get worked the next couple days, I'm sure. Anyway, 8:30 price opened here with a strong green candle, right? That was some news, right? That was the core durable goods orders. Don't ask me what any of these news events are. I don't really know most of them. I mean, pending home sales, that's pretty straightforward, right? But that was at 10 o'clock. This other stuff, I don't really know what it means. It doesn't really matter. We want to see how the market interprets the data, right? It is generally just an excuse to make moves. And then we just want to ride the waves as they come. Now, we did have some big buy-side targets that we were looking for the week, really. But due to the energy of the morning, I thought we might get them today. We ended up not. And this 15-minute gap here with the 40-2150 CE, that proved to be the significant gap. There are a lot of other gaps that were here on the 15-minute, but this is the one I chose. And the reason is the golden fib. I don't think it was this. I think it was this. Oops. Let me see the whole range here. I think it was in this, right? No, it wasn't. There was some golden fib that I was looking at. Damn, now I forget. Why did I have that one as a significant target? Well, I need to do a better job at journaling this shit, huh? Is it this? No. It's like very high up there. There was some reason. You know, I don't know anymore, but that was the gap that I thought was significant. Maybe it was because it aligned with the order block. Who knows? Maybe I'll write down this stuff a little better next time. Either way. Oh, was I doing projections? I might have done a projection thing. I've been messing around with that too. I'm not going to show it yet because I'm not exactly sure how to use it. But T-Trade's put a video out about the projection tool. If you're interested, go check out his channel. It's pretty interesting using a swing to try to project where something is going. Either way, we had a good move, which I did get in on in the morning. And I believe I got in around here. We're going to actually go, I'm going to go through my trading journal as well, so I can see where I did get in at. So the first win was right here. So it was a buy at 4014.25 at 10:01. All right, so 10:01. Oh, it was actually, yeah, on the 1 minute chart. I just caught the last of that move. So let's look at the 1 minute. There was a good entry. Not exactly too sure why I didn't get in on the earlier moves. I guess I thought they weren't real. But here is when I got in. I thought I got in on this one, but I guess it triggered at 10:01. Either way, got in off this gap. Hopefully you guys can see that. Let me draw it out. That gap, right? Came back in, and I took it all the way up, and I actually had a really good exit here. 10:09 at 40.24 even. So had an exit right there. So the reason why I exited was this 15-minute gap. We took it out and took out the buy side, 40.23.25. So that buy side was from this peak, and I had other targets, but they felt too far. I was looking at the 5 minute for like when to look for 1 minute entries, but I was entering on 1 minute. Where was today? Oh God, we're so far back. Yeah, so there's where I entered on the 5 minute. So I think I was in a meeting or something. I should have got in earlier, to be honest. But you know, got meetings and shit in the morning. But that was pretty good. It's a pretty good entry, pretty good exit. Only a short part of it. But yeah, I was very happy with that trade. Now the reversal. Even though I exited, this pushed up aggressively, right? And I exited. I didn't think it was going to reverse. I thought of securing profits and that we were going to have some kind of retracement, then continue the move to higher targets here. Obviously that didn't happen, and one big sign of it not doing that for me was the bodies here holding into this 15-minute gap. So there's a couple things here. There's this new week opening gap, which has been quite a draw on liquidity for weeks. I think this is a pretty old one. I don't think this is the one for this week. No, this is a couple weeks ago, I think. And then the other buy side targets were not super far, but pretty ambitious, I would say, with the run up that we had, right? So I wanted to secure my profits, and I did get out with a really nice exit. But like I said, I was expecting it to like come down here maybe, and then I could go long again. It didn't do that. It reversed pretty nicely. Yeah, I got to get a little more comfortable with that because that reversal was pretty clean and I did not join in. Now on the 5 minute, Bodies are all within that 15-minute gap once again. So that should have been a little bit of a sign that I should trust a reversal, right? And I actually think I relied on the 5-minute a little too much today, because the 5-minute I actually entered here, I think. So this gap, right? So we had this gap on the 5-minute. And I believe I entered here for more upside, because that was my bias still. My next trade was a loss, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. So I went short. I don't even remember that short. 1058, 1059. Oh no, I just sat and watched. Sorry. I did not go in for more upside on that. That was 11, 1058. Yeah, I didn't go in until down here. I was seeing how this was going to play out, and I was relying on the 5-minute a little bit to see how that played out. And I really should have trusted the 1-minute on this. So a lot of times these reversal patterns will show, like this was a pretty common thing that it showed, where it makes a little bit like of a BPR, kind of, sort of a balanced price range, right? I guess you could say it was sort of boxy, but it didn't do the manipulation part, unless you count this push, but it doesn't really work out, right? But that strong push up into the order block here, and the fair value gap and the body respecting it, it should have been a trigger to at least try for some downside, right? Because let's say you go in here, you have, you know, like under 5 handles where you could put your stop loss. So it's pretty well protected, right? So I probably should have gone in on that. Because let's say you enter after you see that this wicks down and stays within the gap, you'll be at 40.19, and you'll put it right above here at 40.23. So it's 4 handles. So it's $200. You know, you put $200 on the line, and then if this does come back up through here, maybe you get in on that entry for more upside, right? Or it goes your way, and it goes your way in a really extreme way, right? A couple things to keep in mind when we're up here as well is that 830 price is way down here, right? And we're even above midnight price, which we were like, it had dropped down quite a bit, right? Is that, yeah, that's crazy. Oh, that's midnight Friday. Shit, I had that wrong. Midnight price was way down here. I was like, that's not right. I remember midnight. I was up at midnight last night. That's not where it was. So this was midnight price. So we were like way in a premium, right? Doesn't mean it can't continue. Definitely does not mean it can't continue. It's just likely to want to go into a discount before it does that, right? So, yeah, it did. And we'll go back to the 5-minute. 5-minute has been pretty good usually. Here was another entry. All of these, the main thing I had an issue with on entering short on these, I mean, you're really entering based on it hitting a target and being in a high premium, right? Which is fine. That's fine. I've often thought maybe I should do that. But I still try to look for those, ICT style entry conditions. The big one for me that I just can't get my head around abandoning is the displacement through a low or a high, right? Now, you might say the continuation, but it's not. It's really not, right? Because it wicks back up in this swing low. We don't displace it. We have displacement. That's the tricky part, right? This is the tricky part, and the part that I still need to get more experience with, I think. We have displacement, and we do break the swing low. Does that mean we have displacement through a swing low? Right? The body of even this candle does not extend past that swing low. Now, clearly, we got downside. So maybe I need to adjust that kind of thought. And not kind of force the body to close below the swing low. In this case, we have displacement. We broke a swing low. That should be enough for a try. Like I said, we could get in with a really close stop loss in case we're wrong. And I think that's worth it. Anyway, same thing on here. And actually, some people in Discord saw something that I didn't see. And it was really nice. It was a really nice setup. So, what I saw here on the 5 minute, right? And this is why I say I think I relied on the 5 minute a little too much today. What I saw today, or what I saw on this move on the 5 minute, was this holding up, and then there was that BPR on the 1 minute, and I actually went in for a long on this push up, and then it got slapped down, obviously. So didn't work out. But one thing that the people in Discord saw that I didn't see was we have a high, we have a low, we have a higher high, and we have a lower low, or this lower low. That would be a breaker, right? That's the definition of a bearish breaker. So these candles are tough, right? Because it's a big fat red one, a doji, and then a little like hammer, right? Red with a long wick. So with a breaker, you usually take the sequence of the same direction candle prior to the higher high for this bearish example. So you take this whole range, right? And I think you still use the wicks, but that's a lot. So what you can do is go into a 15 minute, and it's still big, but it makes the candle look a little better. And then you can just take the body, and as Yimmer and CY on the Discord pointed out, what they were looking for is that CE, or on a breaker or order block, I believe it would be a mean threshold. I don't know. On a breaker, I think it's a CE still. They were looking for that hit to enter. Now, obviously, it didn't do that. But it's, yeah, on the 15 minute, it's very interesting. because you know that all that BPR and stuff just makes those two candles. Yeah, like I said, that had me a bit confused. Honestly, this whole sequence had me a bit confused. But yeah, the breaker was legit. So, yeah, what else happened? We dumped a little bit more, went to the new week opening gap, and there was a significant low here that we hit, right? We hit a bunch of stuff. This is a big pool liquidity down here. See how that's all sort of like a shelf that it's sitting up on. So there's a lot of liquidity there. And then swept these two with that pre-lunch move. And then lunch took some buy side. So the thing that threw me off with lunch and the PM move and why my profits weren't as great today is that the PM move, or I guess really the lunch move, extended until 2 o'clock. And I think it's all due to this kind of gap action that I think we're going to see for at least a couple more days, where we're just sort of bouncing between a couple of gaps. New week opening gap down here, this 1 day gap, the CE of that, coming up to this 15-minute gap, which is by that new week opening gap, back down, hit the bottom, hit the top, do some shenanigans around the CE, come back down, hit this. Now, you see this is a 1 day gap within, sorry, there's a 4-hour gap within a 1 day gap. The 1 day gap is massive. This is the one we came into on Friday and touched and led to this run. One second. I gotta check something. Yeah, we're well above the golden of that area. Yeah, I think for now we'll get into the bias part of this soon. But yeah, I mean, this threw me off a little bit. And then the last move of the day, it just, stuff wasn't like super clear in the afternoon. It was a little sloppy, I think. If you see this, especially on the 1 minute, you know, we have this coming down here, taking some lows, and then just a crazy run. And I thought this was the actual start of the PM move here. This was around 145, right? So that sort of lines up with when an afternoon move could start, especially when you have nothing great of a setup. We have a little bit of setup here for some downside. So when this took off and it formed a pretty, like, this looks like a strong order block, right? In the middle of a run, and it came up here and took the top of the gap again. I thought that this could run for the rest of the afternoon. And I actually went in and I thought we could go to the ultimate bull target for the week, I guess. I think it's more the week. 40, 34, 25, which is some like double top-ish kind of action over here. There's another big one here and a big one of 40, 23 that we swept. 40, 23, 25. And then 40, 40 is really what we played out yesterday in the weekly bias. I do think it will go there eventually. Anyway, afternoon was a little sloppy. I was able to get in a couple of these little moves here, but nothing was gave you much confidence, right? It wasn't confidence boosting action. It was a little nervy. I mean, at one point there was nothing left, right? So when you look, it sweeps this low, and then you say, well, okay, well, where could it go? It's at 315 ish when it swept that low. Where else could it go? Is it really gonna reverse up and take some buy side? Maybe, but I think there's one more target in mind, and that's sort of the top of the I actually thought top of the 1-day gap, so I got in on that a little bit, and that actually dipped it into the midnight price as well, which is good for a reversal. Little BPR here, came back in. All right, so with the BPR, you want to look at the smallest fair value gap on either side. I think that would do it. There's another one here. I don't really count that though. That's too close to the bottom. So that did give you an entry for a little more upside if you wanted to try it, but it was like right before 4. Didn't really make sense, but it did play out through the after hours action. And then you have 3998 that it got back up to, which, like I said, I think 3998 is going to be just something we see a lot this week. Now, all that's over. I hope you guys had a good trading day with that. Let's get to the bias. So let's go to the daily. So with these streams at night, what I want to do is try to lay out at least what is going to happen overnight, and then if that does happen, what we would want to see in the trading day tomorrow, and what to look out for. So this is our daily. Yeah, we had this big wick up into that 15-minute gap. We didn't go into the 1-day gap, and then pulled back down on the new week open gap from back in January 20th to 23rd. And then we have the new week open gap up here, which we did go through, from January 13th to 17th. So we got some old ones there. And then the new week open gap, that is more recent from this week, is down here. And we did wick into that overnight as expected before the big push up. So where do we go from here? Okay. Let's try to think of what a daily candle tomorrow would look like. We swept one little target here, which cleared out the potential for a gap, right? Well, I mean, I guess this wick cleared that out too. So we have a long wick down, a long wick up. Long wick down, long wick up, red candle in the middle. Where do we go from here? Where do we go from here? This is pretty ironic. 407.25. It looks like there's a gap here, but it's a CE of some gap. But it also looks like it would be the CE of the wick as well. It's very close. Looks like we're one tick off. So that's something that should be remembered. Let's go back into the 15 minutes and we can figure out what that is from. Oh, that's really interesting. That's the breaker. Huh. All right. This is a bearish breaker. We never got through it. It did hold up. It looks like, and it's right in the middle of the wick. That's really interesting, actually. We'll keep that one up there. Really, really interesting on the 15 minute. Okay. I'm going to get rid of 830 price. We don't need that right now. And midnight price. I'm going to keep that gap. I'm going to keep all the other gaps, I think. I don't think I'm going to get rid of anything else. Breaker as well is good. All right, let's go back to the day. We hit off the CE of that 4 hour. Yeah, we did. I guess that happened last night, actually. Okay, so 4 hour. Friday gets all the way through the gap and comes back up. Respects that 4 hour. We tap the 4 hour CE again. Come all the way up, but then come all the way back down. And we are not in. The body respected that daily gap. But currently trading, we are in that gap. And we gapped up, I guess. So that's something to note. Okay. Between 4:45 and 6, the daily looks like it gapped, but it didn't gap up at all. It actually gapped. No, it didn't do it. Oh, hold on. What the hell am I looking at here? Okay. Monday, 4:45. This candle. Close of this candle is 399,150. Open of this candle is 399,150. We have no gap. I don't know why the hell the daily shows a gap. But it clearly shows a freaking gap, right? Like, that is very strange. So the close of this says 3,988. Huh. I guess 399,150. I guess the daily isn't counting the after hours session. And that's pretty interesting. I don't know if that's right. I don't see a gap. Anyway, doesn't really matter. We are in the daily fair value gap. We touched the CE of it. So the question is, does it go down from here? Does it go down from here? Let's golden fib it. I believe we were in the golden section. We were a little below it from this whole run up. Let's mark it from here. Okay, we're a little below. Now let's mark it from here. Little below still. Okay. No. Sorry, the golden area is a little below when you look at it from here. But that's what we bounced off of. Okay. This daily gap. Oh, I'm not too sure. Let's look at 4 hour. Okay, so 4 hour. We have swept this, this, and yet to sweep this. There is a fair value gap here. We came pretty close to the CE of that. That white line is a CE, like very close when we came down on Friday and bounced back up. This almost looks like a BPR a little bit. This almost looks like a box setup a little bit. Okay, I'm slightly bullish right now. Let's look at the 1 hour. That's bottom of gap. We have a bearish breaker. But on the 1 hour. Okay. Ignore all the mess to the left. Let's look at just this. If this were a 5-minute or 15-minute chart, what would you think? Because I would think that we are bullish, right? We never really displace a swing low. The last displacement that still holds is a swing high here that we displaced through, creating this fair value gap. It ran up and took a pretty big target. Now we did create a breaker, not a gap, that we tapped into and came down into this gap, pretty far down into this gap, but reeled up really quick. And now we're coming back and likely would want to just gravitate. I mean, this honestly feels similar to last night, except for it's a different gap that we're looking at, where like I think it's gonna trickle down into this gap and start another run up. Looking at the 1 hour, I'm feeling bullish for sure. I mean, another thing to look at is where are the targets, right? So there is a sell side target here. There's a sell side target here. There's a sell side target here. And then like nothing else except for really old stuff, which is great. We can definitely get to that stuff. But if we get to that stuff, we are kind of invalidating that we're gonna come back up and turn this into a bullish market in the next couple months. Which I do believe we are going to turn this into a bullish market in the next couple months. Got to see how it plays out. Obviously, there's still a lot A lot going on. Fucking lot, man. There's so much going on in the world. It's really hard to predict anything long term, right? Because it feels like anything can happen right now that could just spiral this out of control. And either way. But I think currently I am, as far as the daily is concerned, thinking that we're going to have, I don't even know if we get down to this gap, but more bullish on the daily than anything. Okay, back to this. Sorry. 1 hour. This double top is just really, that's why when when the afternoon move started going here, I was like, fuck yeah, here we go. It's on, dude. It is fucking on. We came down here into this gap, and I was looking at the 1 hour. It came down here into this gap and then presented this, and it was like a really strong move up to here, and it presented another entry that got slapped down. And I really thought that would shoot it off to take this double top. Now, looking back at the 1 hour, I mean, that would be quite ambitious to come down here and just shoot off right away. I think this definitely makes more sense. Like, it's pulling more sell side. It's more of a like dum dum dum, right? Like set up something and then take off again. But yeah, I'm feeling pretty bullish here. Feeling pretty bullish. That was a great target here taken. This gap needs filled too. Like, this gap has not been, this 1 day gap right here has not been served at all on the buy side. So a little bit here, but you know, it doesn't really count too much. So taking those double tops, hitting that CE, and then probably coming back down to this one, and then maybe doing, this could be a very long process to balance all this shit and then make the next real move. So we could really be into some consolidation here, which makes sense, right? We had a consolidation period around the same area over here, and I believe some more back here too. It seems to be an area where it takes a little bit of a breather, right? All right, back to the 1 hour. Sorry, keep going back and forth, back and forth. All right, so feeling bullish. Let's go to the 15-minute and see if there's anything else we can take from this. We are in the golden area right now from the drop, the latest drop, the last afternoon drop. So that does make sense to hit that CE, which we did at 8:30, and then have some sort of retrace back down. Let's see if this gap is within the golden of this move. If we say that's top and bottom, it's not in the golden, but it is in a discount. Let's leave that up and let's go to the 5-minute and see if there's anything on the 5-minute that we could take as a target for the golden. There's nothing. And on the 1-minute, there isn't even anything. Now we do have this balanced price range down here, but I think this is a case where the golden is a little too far and we're not going to get there. But that new week opening gap is quite a good area too. And it's in a discount. That's the thing about the golden, is it's great. It's very, seems to be very accurate that once something gets into this and there's a PD array, then it's gonna do some kind of reverse, at least for a little while, right? At least some kind of retracement or something based off that. And you can combine it with different time frames and build a different picture of more complex moves. But the thing that really matters is it crossing that premium discount line. 398825 is the premium discount line for this bottom to this top here of that run. So this is our overnight bias. Our overnight bias is to trade into this new week opening gap and continue upward, I think. So let's measure this. Okay, that's interesting, because we did sort of have some manipulation out of the golden area for that move. But let's look at the whole move. The whole move would actually take us back to the new week opening gap from this week. That's this week's new week opening gap. You see it here. That's not a terrible idea either. It really isn't. On the 1 hour, okay, let's see what that would look like on the 1 hour. If we did get down there. Okay. So 1 hour. For value gap, come back, come down, boom, and then we come down. Sweep these lows maybe, and bounce off that, or we bounce off this, which is that 4 hour gap. Pull it over some more. CE. That is a golden zone. See how the 15 minute just changes our mind a little bit, at least for me. It changed my mind a little bit. Because the whole move is what I want to think of. Now, yeah, I don't know. If we did grab that sell side, I mean, that would be a really nice target. 39.7525, and actually this one down here is probably the better target. 39.75 even. That would be a lot of sell side to use for a push up. It's not bad. It's not a bad idea. At the very least, we're coming down to here, right? This new week opening gap, at the very least, likely coming into a discount. And maybe we use the order block there. That's quite an order block, though. That's the whole thing. We never even eclipsed the swing high here. It does seem like we're set for a bigger downward move, actually, because this is a pullback. There's a gap here. Yeah, we got past the gap, but it's really just a pullback. Let's look at the 1 hour again. Damn, I'm really sort of between things here. Because does it make sense for it to come down and bounce up and then do a move? That's very tough. It's a very tough call, actually. I'm not sure. Yeah. I'm gonna go with that. I'm gonna go with that as the bias. Obviously, don't trade this, people. Like, we just want to see if we can plan out what the overnight is gonna do. See, we had this gap. It came down and closed it. We had another gap. It's already come down and closed it. It is forming some entries, but movement's really slow. We could also just play off of this bottom of the gap. But yeah, I'll say that this bottom one could be in play for the overnight. And then it would need to consolidate there. Like, that's a good shelf of liquidity there. There's another one here too. It would need to play around down here, like consolidate a little bit, and then start a move up. And maybe that's how we start tomorrow. Or London. So let's put some predictions out there. So this is 227. 27. I'll put 228 because we're really predicting that. Okay. 227 because it's overnight. 227. Overnight bias. Reach down. Bearish into. Yeah, I'll show you my notepad, guys. This is my. That's what I use for so much. So we want to say bearish into new week opening gap from this week, and then in parentheses 39.76.50 to 39.74.50, right? Then I think we say some consolidation. London. Let's go London bias. Consolidation. Then consolidation. Okay. London. Set up. Bullish. Entries. New trade down till new week opening gap is tagged on the bottom. May slowly creep up for a green day tomorrow out of the gate. Yeah. I agree. I agree. This just isn't enough. Like, I know it's after hours, but it just seems so lethargic to, like, and it's going to be overnight. So would we really expect it to push some of these things? It very well could just consolidate here. Would we really expect it to go down, though? I'm going to say London bias finish, bearish move from overnight bias if not made into gap yet, into new week opening gap yet. Then set up bullish move for New York session. New York session bias. Yeah, I agree. I think this week, and I think we really laid that out on Sunday, that there's a lot in between. Like we're in between a lot of stuff. Some big gaps, new week opening gaps, daily gaps. So sort of a doji for the week would make sense. Maybe it sets up something towards the end of the week for the next move, but mainly some consolidation over the next couple days. New York session bias setup, finish setup for bullish morning move with potential target of, I'm gonna go with potential target of 40.34.25. I'm gonna make that a potential target until it hits it, because I'm pretty set on it hitting that freaking number, man. Bias bullish, bias even. I'm gonna say even for London, and bias bearish for overnight. All right, so this is what the notepad looks like. 227. Oh, I was like, why is this in New York session again? So overnight bias, overnight bias is bearish. Bearish into New York opening gap for this week, which is that bottom one. Oops. Bottom one down there. Then consolidation. London bias is sort of even, because it really depends on what happens here. I think London could have to finish the bearish move into that new week open gap as the start of London, and then sort of take off, maybe just start setting it up from there. We very well could be coming into New York in that gap again. We were in that gap late last night, early this morning, I guess. And I think that's going to be a theme. I think that gap is going to be a theme. We might as well put a stinking CE on it, right? Where did I even lay these out? Did I put it on the hourly? Where the hell did I do this? Oh, God. I could have swore I did on the 15 minutes, but look, it's like it's in no man's land over here. I don't know what the hell happened. Let's look at the 15 minute. Let's find it again. Friday. Okay, it's right here. These two things. So it's the bottom of this candle and the top of that body. Okay. And we want to put a CE on that. Bottom of that body, top of that body. Let's put a CE on there. Okay. That looks good. All right. So that's our target for London. I think overnight heading back down. Maybe do a little London, come down, and then start maybe a move. Yeah, I don't know. You really got to see how overnight goes. We're not too far off from London, you know. It's only 3.5 hours away, so. Anyways. Cool. I think that'll wrap it up for this session. We got a good bias written down. We went over the moves for the day. I went over my trade journal. By the way, I'm using this Trader Sync. I just like plug them a little bit. You know, I used it a little bit a couple of days, before I bought it. I think it's very good. I like the dashboard. I like the filtering, right? I don't need to do all this, but if you see all of mine, now I don't have all of my trades in, so but it's cool. It even breaks it down by hours, so you could see like over your entire trading career, like what hours you do well in, right? Like 11 o'clock, I have no good trades. I make most of my money at the start of the PM, the afternoon, which is interesting. Like I said, I don't have all my trades. I think I put like 3 days in. So it'll be cool to sort of build this up. But I thought it was a good way to present the data. And loading them in was pretty easy too. You just load them in from an extract from Tradevate. Yeah, it's cool. So if you want to like you can go in on each trade. And what I was doing, I think you look weekday, right? So it'll break down the days. Hourly. And then I went in on Monday, right? And then I clicked 227. And that's what got me my day. I can take Monday off. But this is what happened today, right? And then I can see by hour, all that stuff. But yeah, I'll build this out. I'll keep showing it off. One cool thing, dude, it was such a bummer to see actually. What was I looking at? I was looking at something and it showed me what my return would have been without the losses today. It was over 1,000. Fuck. Overview. Yeah, here it was. Okay. There's the overview with the February 27th filter in place. So you can see it by the hour, right? Like my line chart makes more sense there. Like my profits. So I started off really hot and then lost a bunch. Almost got it back and then lost some more. And then had a good run up to finish strong. But my return on losers was negative $625. Ah, shit. That hurts, man. This might kill you, Nate, if you use it. You're going to see this shit and just get depressed or something. But the thing is, you got to look at the bright side of thing. My return on winners was 1175. That's nice. All right. That's a nice day when the action was a little weird, right? So just cut out the losers, and that's what I could have made. So that's some motivation to improve. So yeah, I'll keep showing it as I fill shit out. But that'll wrap it up for tonight. I think I'll try to do this every night because I need to for myself. I'm glad that people can come be involved and give your input. I think it's helpful. But I really need to do this as part of my discipline, you know. Still learning, still growing. Got to keep grinding until the work is done, you know. Work's never going to be done. But right now, need to hustle. And this really helps. This really helped. Like, having that session last night really helped with figuring it out today, you know. Had a couple things wrong, it's fine. But it really set my mind to what made sense in the bigger scale of things, right? The bigger time frames, the larger time frames, bigger picture. That's what I was looking for. Yeah, man. You know, you can always catch it after. No problem. I do these, I usually am doing this as a video, so I'm just talking to myself anyway. So don't feel like you need to be here every time, but would definitely like to see you around, Hope more and more people join in, and it'll be fun. So anyway, have a great night. I will see you around in Discord. And we'll see how trading is tomorrow. See how the overnight stuff plays out. See you later.